Hi everybody, it's Janie back here at the League-Kempner House in Galveston. It is an unusual today. It's Tuesday. That's not a day we're normally open or down here, but I decided to come in and have a work day on my own. It has been so busy. We've been pulled in so many directions with everything going on in the yard. And the 1st of June was the official first day of hurricane season, and we still don't have our shutters ready to go on the window, and we can't call McNatt and get on the list to get on their work schedule until we know these are ready to go. So I'm here with no one else. We love people, we love tours, don't get me wrong, but it's very distracting. And as I said, we've had so much going on in the yard with our palm trees and the fleas and everything. And I need just 8 or 9 hours alone, just focused on these shutters. So today I've got some little artist brushes. I'm going to have to go in and touch up all these little places between the slats. You have to move them back and forth and make sure you get everything, get the ends, touch up the slats themselves. It's just kind of clean up. So I've got these tools. This great little tool that one of our viewers sent, and actually I think I kind of rubbed it raw the other day using it. They sent me 3, but I'm going to try to use this one. It's just a foam pad with some little fuzzies on it, and it's perfect for just rubbing back and forth a tiny bit of paint over these slats. They don't need a lot of paint. It's just some slight little touch-ups. So I've got that and my extra ones. Oh, and I didn't bring a screwdriver to open the can. I'm already sweating. I've already sprayed myself down with the deep woods off, and I have my flea indicator socks on so I can keep an eye out. We're still fighting that. And then I bought a couple of products that some of our viewers recommended that I'm going to spread around the house and in the basement later to try to eradicate those guys for good. So anyway, it's just, crazy around here as usual. And yesterday the palm trees were trimmed. I'll take you out in the yard and show you that in a little bit. And I couldn't be here, but it's the great thing about having local volunteers. Sherry, who you see all the time working in the yard, she and Kathy, our other volunteer, came and spent the day drilling holes and putting ports in a lot of the palm trees. So we'll circle around and get back to that. I know I'm behind on video, so I'm not sure what you've seen yet, but today I'm going to get started on these shutters and just really try to focus on that in the peace and quiet of the house. So I'm going to get started. I don't know, first I've got to go get something to open the paint can. Just another quick tidbit of information. I'm over here in the alcove doing it because there's a lot of daylight, which is something that was missing in the basement. But also this floor has to come up and be redone. It's very rotted and bad. And we're trying very hard not to refinish the rest of our floors. They're in great shape. They need to be cleaned and buffed and oiled. But I don't want this green paint tracked all over the house. So even though I don't care about this floor much, I've got a couple layers of cardboard down, and I'm going to try to be very careful, and I'm not using a whole lot of paint, so hopefully I won't have an accident. But let me bring you in and show you what I'm talking about, the cleanup. So here in the light you can see some of the little spots that got missed, and I can take this handy thing and just barely touch it in the paint. And come up and touch this up without putting a whole lot of paint on it. I don't want to get the paint too goopy and thick, but I do want to cover all those spots where the primer is bleeding through, and I can get the ends done. And once this is loaded with paint, it works a little better. That sponge has to soak up paint. You can see it's pretty easy to do. Not a lot of paint going on, just touch up. And then I'll take my artist brush. It's kind of hard to do with the camera. And come in and touch up these areas. So it's going to be impossible to do holding the phone and showing you much, but you get the gist of it. And then once I touch that area up, the louvers have to go the other way to get the missed spot. So it's going to take a little while to do this. So I'm going to put the camera away and get busy. Well, I expected some stark, jarring difference, but unless you know what to look for, you can't really see it, because we did not trim every tree, as you can see. But look over there by the greenhouse. Those guys are clearly trimmed up. So I just randomly, well, not randomly, I kind of looked and picked 20 trees, because that's what the budget would allow, and tried to get out the worst offenders. And then some of these shorter ones we can trim ourselves. So I went for tall, especially like that guy right there, you can see. But the goal was to get as many as we could trimmed up and get the debris out. Now we're going to treat for the leaf hoppers. And this looks really strange in front of the greenhouse, these being trimmed up so tall. They were very full before, but those fronds were intermingled with one of the diseased ones, and so I don't actually know if these guys are going to make it. But they've been treated, and with all the extra off, we can keep a better eye on them and see what happens. And then these guys, now we've got a view of the apartment. Alright, I just got back from my lunch break. I painted 2.5 hours, as quick as I could. And things look much better. I did all 3 sets of louvers, the front side, not this underside. I did the bottom 2 sets here, the bottom 2 sets there. I need to get the ladder up and do the top 2, and then flip these around and do it again from the other side to get the piece I missed. Oh, but I left my brush outside. Let me go get it. Okay, that was a little scary. I actually turned this around front to back, but then I also flipped it over because I like painting these in this position, and if it were upside down I'd be painting on the bottom side. But you can see the, what I call the veil here, I don't know if that's the right word for it or not, needs touch up, and I need to do my open touch up, close touch up down the sides. Actually, these don't look too bad. This may be one that I attempted to touch up in the basement, so that's in pretty good shape. Although I did notice I missed an edge, some edges somewhere, so it'll take lots of little touch up. But I'm going to go grab my bigger chippy brushes, because once I do this side I'll go ahead and put a second coat on these big parts and let that dry, so I need the bigger brush for that. Whew, Whew. Okay, it is been a long day. It is almost 6 o'clock, so I have been painting on these for 8.5 hours. No, 8 hours. I took a 30-minute lunch break. So I'm probably, I don't know, 95% complete. They look a lot better. These three, I still need to let them dry, do some flipping around, get in with a little artist brush and touch up some places, but they are getting there. I did find that even being in bright sunlight has its drawbacks because of the glare. It's definitely better than the basement. Oh, look, I haven't even done the back side of this one yet. So that's why I need to let them dry, manipulate them, look around, see what's done, what's not done, and pick up again tomorrow where I left off. So my goal is to have all 6 of these done by the end of the week. So I have Wednesday, Thursday, Friday to work on them in between other stuff. So I'm going to pack it up, wash my brush, and head home. All right, Roman and I are outside talking about the greenhouse, and he just showed me something I've never seen, and there's a giant threaded rod that runs through that. Is that 2 pieces? Because how do you get it? How do you drill a hole that long?
No. This isn't solid. So this is kind of, think like 2x4, 2x6. And on top of that is the little tapered piece. Okay. Behind this piece, if you go to the other side, you could probably see it. That rod is in place. See, you're too short.
Oh. Yeah. I've never looked at it from over here.
And it really is what holds that door header together. Because I didn't see any other screws or fasteners, so it's notched here, and it puts tension on it, and it just kind of zips the whole thing together. It's pretty clever.
Okay.
So we replace these.
Well, if we have to, we can just cut that off and get a stainless rod.
We could. It's hard to. Everything else has been okay. I'm going to spray some WD-40 and let it set. It hasn't budged yet. These bolts have been coming out pretty easy.
Okay, I got up and got on the road at 5:30 this morning to meet Josh. And that's him way up there. And he's got his laser level. So this is the end of the yard grading on the back half of the yard to get all the water to flow away from the house and out the back fence as much as possible. Get all this broken concrete out of here and fix our big swale on the side and get rid of that pipe that just didn't have the capacity. So we have to be serious now because this is it. How's it look? Not much. Okay, we have plotted a course. He's coming in. There you go. He's off. Whoops, off to the races. All right. Looks like he's going to tackle. I don't know what he's tackling first. So this is a massive project. It ended up taking 2 days, and we're trying to solve our water problem in the basement once and for all by getting the rest of the yard graded. And of course the grass in the yard were looking great. We've had a lot of rain and everything is green and beautiful, and we're going to destroy everything. So basically, he's getting rid of the hump. Getting rid of the hump, bringing this down level here, and doing a big swale to the back. So this area I know all drains towards the house and into that U-shaped area, and I know that because when it rains I go out and study the yard and see where the water flows, and you can see some of the rise with your eye, but it's much more accurate to have that laser level and really see what's going on. Remember, they have added up to 3 feet of dirt in places in this yard, and it's just all driving that rain straight to the house. So Josh is taking all this dirt up. He's trying to scrape a layer of grass off first and kind of put it in one pile, and then he's going to come back and take out a lot of the soil and put it in another pile. All of it's going to be hauled off property and gotten rid of once and for all. I'm curious to see how much it is when all is said and done. He's estimating a 2-day job. We'll see. He owns his own big dump trucks now. The first time he did this for us, he hired somebody. All right. Old flower bed. Get the camera and show you. Okay, we already took out so much of this. But he's down about 7 inches, and there's the edge of an old flower bed. So I missed a few with my shovel when I was taking stuff out. Josh is fast, but not quite this fast. But he did hit some obstructions along the way. This yard was full of flower beds. I had tried to go around with a shovel and find all the bricks and remove them, but there's still a lot under the ground. So it's good to take it off kind of in layers. And even with just this first layer off in this one little strip, we generated quite a pile of dirt already. It's going to be a massive amount of dirt removed from this yard. And remember, we've already done a quarter of the lot before we even started on this process, and we did a little grading on this side once, but not the final grading. Didn't really show up in the video, but when Josh would bring the equipment over in this area, he kept hitting something hard, and it was blocking him from going further. And a little more exploration discovered that it wasn't a flower bed edging. It was actually the old foundational wall of the original greenhouse that kind of overlapped the back of the garage. And so it's not just a couple inch deep, it's a big footing and a big wall. It was a little bit exciting to find. We've seen the greenhouse on photographs, we've seen it on the Sanborn maps, but we didn't know exactly how big it was, and it turned out to be much larger than I thought. So Josh flipped the excavator around and really went down deep and tried to pop that wall out of there so that he could work in this area without hitting it. So you never really know what you're going to find. Okay, we just had a timeout looking for my microphone that goes on the end of my phone because I stuck it in my pocket with my phone, and when I pulled my phone out, it came out and fell. But we found it. But this is the base of the old greenhouse. You can see the outline on the wall over there. So we're having a little timeout to try to salvage as many bricks as possible. Okay, Josh is going to take the equipment and go work on the other swale while I pick bricks. I was just telling Sherry I was going to put an appeal out on Facebook for people that had spare bricks to drop off so we can pave in the bottom of our greenhouse. But how fun would it be to be able to use some of the original bricks from the first greenhouse? So while they move over and work on that. The trick is how to get them out of here. I do not have my tape measure and I don't have time to document this, so I'm going to use my phone and get the line. So the edge of the greenhouse is right there in line with that second window pane in on the greenhouse. And we know where the edge of it went. It went to here on the garage, but it was actually pretty big. It didn't look like it in the photos. And the outside edge is about even with the outer edge of the porch. So once this is gone, I'll be able to map that out and know where it was. After picking up as many bricks as possible, I went over to film Josh working on that swale. Now remember, this is connecting our retention pond over to the edge of the property at the sidewalk. We can't put a pipe under the sidewalk and drain to the street. We can only go to the edge of our own property, and we just need more capacity for speed. So one pipe wasn't cutting it, so we've decided to just make this ginormous swale. So there's a lot of dirt to dig out down here. We're going down about 1.5 feet, and again, it's nice to have that laser level and make sure that water can flow freely from the retention pond down there. There's more bricks everywhere. You'll see me scurrying around throughout the whole video, picking up bricks and all kinds of things in the yard, save everything. But then it got time to work actually closer to the fence, and I got a little nervous because we need to get right up to the sidewalk, and our wrought iron fence is there. And as we discovered recently, the fence predates the house by as much as 20 years. So it is original to the first house that was on this property. So we definitely don't want to bump it or hurt it in any way. So he's very skilled with this, but he was leery about getting too close, so we're going to stop maybe a foot short of the fence and do the rest by hand. But we want kind of a secondary retention pond down here. The more water we can hold on the property and not put in the street, kind of the better citizen we are in terms of street flooding in Galveston. When we get those hard rains that flood our property, it also floods a lot of the streets because it just comes down so incredibly fast and doesn't have time to drain. So we're lucky. We're actually at kind of a high spot on the island, so we don't see as much of it here, but we have to be cognizant of where our street drains go and where that water may be backing up somewhere else. So it's a continuous problem. When you're close to sea level, you're just going to have trouble with flooding. But everything is looking really good here. I think it's going to work well, and this equipment is just the way to go to be able to remove. I think we removed over 100 yards of dirt in this process. We just ran across some more flower beds. how deep down it is. All this is added dirt they brought in. Because we're going down so deep, we will have to figure out some kind of transition to get people safely across this. On that far side, you see, we do have our flower bed and our stones. We may need to rearrange that a little bit to be kind of a natural break. The goal is on the other side, nearest to us, to get a gentle slope so that it's safe for people to walk on. But where these little paths cut through, we're going to have a pretty steep drop. We've talked about maybe a little decorative bridge, some steps, just something else to do a transition there. And then the ground is higher in front of the greenhouse, so water will flow back into the greenhouse, and we're going to pave that with bricks, so we want to keep it clean, so we don't want dirt and water flooding in there every time it rains. So unfortunately this side drains okay, but in terms of draining for the house, but not for the greenhouse. So we decided to go ahead and scrape this off and get that flat and below the surface and get it low enough that we can actually put a little walkway in there. Then it was time to kind of start cleaning up. So the big equipment can only do so much, so we needed to slope that side, get everything raked out, clean up the roots, kind of do the fine tuning, if you will, on how the contour needs to look. So it was a very busy day of a lot of raking and shoveling. Unfortunately, when Josh got the laser level out after I cleaned it up, we found out there was still a bit of a hump in the middle, and he needed to come back in and do some more grading. So all that raking was for naught.
It's below it.
It's below the sidewalk? How much below?
About 3 inches. You can scrape it down more.
Do you think it needs a little bit more on that high spot? Because once we put grass and it gets kind of
I would scrape it.
silted up.
Yeah, we can scrape it to about right here.
Yeah, you can see from there to like right there.
That'd be plenty right there.
Okay. Yeah, I don't want to go through all this and find out we're an inch away.
Yeah, this right here would be good. Because then I'll give you probably 6 inches right there.
That'll give room for grass and some silting up over time. Okay. All that raking for nothing. He's going to come scrape some more. We may end up with a little bridge over here. We've attracted the seagulls. Everybody likes the fresh dirt. We never get seagulls. I just counted, I think, 12 of them. Oh my gosh, look, they're all over the garage. Everybody wants a worm. So the big equipment was back, scraping in my newly raked area, and you know, I don't know what each bucket holds. It's quite a bit. So he took out, I don't know, 4 or 5 more big buckets full where there was this kind of hump, and then smoothed everything by pulling that bucket back over the ground to try to get it as cleaned up as possible to minimize the amount of handwork that we have to do with the rakes and everything. And then they brought the laser back out and checked it, and this time everything looked really good. So I'm very happy with this. Fingers crossed everything's going to work, and it was time to move on and go back and finish the other part of the yard. Alright, I was having a little rest, and he's finished up this side and moved over back to the other side. So I'm going to get my gloves on and get the rake and go smooth it out again. All that digging, and we finally found something. A bottle with a glass stopper. Pretty cool. So I am going to leave you hanging with that little find. You need to turn on your notifications and subscribe so you can follow us. We'll be back usually every Sunday with a new video, but also check out Facebook and Instagram for more real-time updates. We are the League-Kempner House here in Galveston. Thanks for watching, and we will see you back next week.